The New York Knicks defeated the Boston Celtics 91-90 in game 2. This is the second game they have defeated Boston on the road, which is very surprising. Before the series started, in my mind, I felt this would go 7 games. Thought this would go the full distance. So it is surprising that the Knicks have won both of these games, I would say. But the Celtics have been exposed in these last 2 games, and I think tonight they got exposed again. This was the second game the Celtics blew a 20-point lead to the New York Knicks. For me, what was even more damning about this game than the previous game was the Celtics. They got a lot of favorable treatment from the refs in this game. They had a lot of touch foul calls that should have been called. They had a lot of no calls that were not called on the defensive end. When I define a no call is when a guy gets away with fouling on the defensive end. Celtics got away with quite a few of those. And despite all of that, they still lost the game to the Knicks. I don't know how you can feel good about this game if you're a Celtics fan. I think this one even hurts more than the first one due to all the things that were going in the Celtics' favor in this game, and they still couldn't close it out. That's one thing I would say. But one of the biggest things I think that's getting exposed right now in this series is the Celtics' over-reliance on the three-point shot. Sure, they won a title last year by doing it, but we're also seeing how being over-reliant on the three-point shot can backfire. That it's such a unpredictable shot in the sense that you can be streaky from it. You could have games where you're hitting it just very easily, and then you can have games where you just go cold no matter how great of a three-point shooting team you are. I remember before the Warriors became a championship team, historically you didn't see a team that could consistently win titles being a jump shooting team. That it was unheard of, because even with the best shooting teams, eventually you go through streaks where you're just cold and the shots are not falling, and once that happens you just can't win games. This has been the case the last 2 games with the Celtics, that their three-point shots are not falling. You got to credit the Knicks for great defense, I would say, but it also exposes the Celtics that when these shots are not falling, they can't do anything. They have no other way to get easy buckets. In this game, they shot a ridiculous 10 for 40 from the three-point field. That's 25%. I've heard for years these stat geeks say that 3 is greater than 2, and that's why you need to focus on the three-point shot. But I have a new thing to throw at them. Is 3 really greater than nothing? Just because that's what you're getting by chucking up the three-point shots. You're getting 0%. When 3 equals 0%, it's definitely not greater than 2. That's the failure of just over-reliance on the three-point shot. A lot of these teams don't know how to score without chucking threes. That there's no way they can get easy buckets or go-to buckets. There's no mid-range game anymore for a lot of these teams. That was the case of the Celtics. They really couldn't score anything when their three-point shot wasn't falling. Sure, they got some layups and dunks, but no mid-range. That's why that mid-range is so important, because if a team is able to take away your three-point shooting and they can limit the amount of layups and dunks you get, what can you turn to then? You got to go to the mid-range, but the Celtics don't have mid-range, and that's an issue. Like, I look at the Knicks, they didn't shoot great in this game either. 9 of 31 from 3. That's piss poor. Granted, they shot an overall slightly better percentage of 43% compared to the Celtics' 36%. But to me, the biggest difference with the Knicks is, the biggest difference with the Knicks is that they have a guy in Cat that they can get easy buckets with in the paint. There were quite a few times this game where a Cat was able to get an easy bucket in the paint, a layup, fadeaway, mid-range shot, that he was able to get these shots against the Celtics, and it kind of broke the Knicks' cold streak when they were struggling to get points. The Celtics don't have that luxury. When they're cold, and they can't get an easy bucket in the paint. That is the biggest issue out there for them. And I think it will continue to be a problem in the series for them. The other thing that's damning for the Celtics is Porzingis. I don't know what's going on with this guy. I keep on hearing that he's battling some illness, some viral infection, something's going on with him. And from what I heard during this game is that it's causing stamina issues with him. So in this game, he was only able to play like 14 minutes. And he was effective offensively, but you could see that this guy was huffing and puffing and just reaching. Just he was struggling to stay on the court. That's why he couldn't play beyond 14 minutes. So that to me is very troubling. I don't think the Celtics can beat the Knicks without a healthy Porzingis. They really need his size in the worst way in this series. They just can't get away with being a small team against the Knicks. I just don't think it's going to work out with Cat and Mitchell Robinson. Their size creates a lot of problems on offense and on defense. I feel both of these guys, they know how to be interchangeable. I feel, and they hurt them on the rebounds. So I just think it's very, very, very tough for the Celtics to match up with the size of the Knicks without Porzingis being healthy. There are also a few other things that stood out to me about this game. I would say the Knicks were battle tested against the Detroit Pistons. I think the Pistons actually prepared them for this series because every game was a grind out against Detroit. Detroit was a very physical team, a very bruising team, a very tough team mentally that really put you through the grinder mentally. They tested you in every way possible. And the Knicks were able to win these games against the Pistons by the skin of their teeth. But I think that made the Knicks more resilient. It made them more prepared to win these close games against Boston just from that experience. Even though Boston is the defending champs, I don't think they were really tested against Orlando Magic to deal with this storm of what they're dealing with in the Knicks. I think the other issue with the Knicks that causes them so many problems is the Knicks perimeter players. OG, Mikal Bridges, they match up so well with Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You just look at the shooting percentages tonight of Tatum, 5 of 19. Jaylen Brown, 8 of 23. That they're having an effect. And I would say also Josh Hart is a very good perimeter player. He's having an effect on their guards. Derek White, 6 of 17 from the field. The only guard that really shot well was Jrue Holiday, which was 4 of 6. The Knicks perimeter players are a nightmare matchup for the Celtics, that their defense can really, really contain both Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. Now, I would like to just mention just the coaching in this game. Mazzulla, I think he also played a role in losing this game. What stupid coaching towards the end did this guy have when he was doing the hack of Robinson? That to me was a dumb strategy because the Knicks knew exactly what he was doing when he started fouling Mitch with a little bit underneath 3 minutes. I think it was above 2 minutes. So the Knicks knew that, hey, this guy's doing hack of Mitch, but we're going to let him foul Mitch one more time. And once he fouls Mitch one more time, we're going to take him out of the game, and we're already in the penalty now. Before they can commit another foul, now we're going to put them in the penalty. That was a great strategy by the Knicks in the sense that the fourth time they fouled Mitch with getting the 14 foul, they immediately took him out. And it was a little bit underneath 3 minutes. That really hurt the Celtics because now they're in the penalty in the sense that next foul they commit is free throws for the Knicks. That was a dumb strategy by Mazzulla. That to me was a very, very stupid strategy, not smart, because it hinders your defense. It hinders how aggressively you can play defense because you're scared if you do a simple reach in, that's going to be free throws right there. So that to me was dumb coaching. And then even the final possession of this game where Jalen Brunson got fouled, he made the 2 free throws to put up the Knicks 91 to 90. Why didn't he call a timeout? He just had the Celtics just run up a full court play without calling a timeout. To me, that's just dumb. I think he thought he could take the Knicks by surprise, but it was very predictable. They gave the ball to Jayson Tatum. And this time around, I think Mitchell Robinson was prepared to defend Tatum. Unlike the other play where Tatum got a quick dunk off against him, he was able to force Tatum into the baseline corner, in which then Tatum was trapped by OG and Mikal Bridges. That resulted in him not being able to get his shot off. That, to me, was just terrible coaching, I would say. But also, we have to admit that Tatum choked on that final play, that he melted, he got scared, and it resulted in a bad decision. I also think he tried to play hero ball in that possession, and it failed big time. But I feel both Tatum and Jaylen Brown are getting tested in this series, that they're going to have to dig deep now, especially if Porzingis is never going to be back at 100%. They're going to have to find a way how to overcome the Knicks defenders of OG, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart, how to deal with these guys because they're not going anywhere. And then you got to deal with Mitch in the paint, who's another good interior defender. So this is a really tall task for the Celtics right now. And their season looks very bleak at this moment of time. Game 3, I think, will be a war. It will be very interesting to see how this plays out. If the Celtics can show a heart of the champion and rise in the situation. But I think Game 3 is really a must-win for the Celtics. If they lose Game 3, they're cooked. They're done. They're not going to come back and win this series. There's just no way. So Game 3 is going to be a war come Saturday. And I'm very interested to see how this plays out. But I don't have anything else to say.